Biodiversity is an intimidating word, but it is not nearly as big as it seems. You, an individual, are the key to stopping the negative effects of climate change. How, you might ask? Look into your backyard. Biologists have found in the last 250 years, 600 of our species or plant populations have declined, and that is continuing towards decline. Fortunately, the answer is right in front of us: native plants. Native plants are the key to bring back biodiversity even in your backyard, meaning you can be the key to fighting climate change by planting native plants which store CO2 in their roots, and one of these seeds is 0.007 cents. That means that it's cost effective and helping out our local biodiversity. Even 1 square foot of native plants can help biodiversity in so many ways, because even then it's bringing back species. So homeowners with maybe not a lot of garden space will still be able to help climate change in their own way. Native plants are crucial to ecological regrowth. Not only are you mitigating the adverse effects of climate change today, but you're mitigating them in the future as well. Plus, you might find a new gardening hobby, and you get to see your effects of biodiversity that help tackle the effects of climate change a window away in your backyard. Conserved or restored habitats, just like your future native plant-filled yard, help take the biggest effect of climate change, CO2 in the atmosphere, and store it in their roots. And they can help the adverse effects of floods and storms just in your backyard. Now you're an ecological hero and helping change start to blossom. A big indicator of healthy ecosystems are birds, and they absolutely rely on native plants. So let's ask our friend Tate Mason from the World Center of Birds of Prey.
My name is Tate Mason, Director of the World Center for Birds of Prey. And we are just south of Boise, and if you see in the distance there, that's the Boise Mountains, a very crucial flyway for raptors as they're migrating south and amassing there before they cross the Great Basin in their migration. And so having areas like this full of native plants is really helpful for the birds as they're picking up energy, either whether they're on migration or whether they're just year-round residents.
Awesome. Well, can you introduce her?
Absolutely. So this is Griffin, and Griffin is a Swainson's hawk. Swainson's hawks are big-time migrants. They go 3,000 miles one way, all the way down to South America and back each year.
So you think that if people were planting native plants in their backyard, there's a possibility they could see a bird like Griffin in their yard?
If you have native plants in your yard, it's more likely that you will see a diversity of birds. And that could include raptors as well, because raptors are indicators of the health of the environment. If the food chain is healthy, it's more likely that you'll have an assemblage of raptors that are taking advantage of that healthy food chain.
Oh, wow. Well, we just had a great chat here with Tate Mason at the World Center for Birds of Prey. There's no planet B. We only have our planet A, planet Earth. Biodiversity helps the adverse effects of climate change by taking CO2 out of the atmosphere and can help keystone species to thrive, allowing our generation to thrive and the generation after us to thrive. By taking native species and putting them in our own hands, we're also taking climate change in our own hands. Climate change can be a very heavy mental thought of all people of all ages. So let's nurture the future at home, one seed at a time.
This is Earth, our homeland. It's beautiful, isn't it? From the majestic mountains to the fabulous forests to the outstanding oceans, Earth never fails to take your breath away. There is something for everyone here, and there is something everyone can do to protect these resources from the climate change that is overwhelming us all. Greenhouse gases from human activity are driving this environmental crisis. Because humanity is the heart of the problem, humanity must also be the heart of the solution. Collectively, we hold the power to restore balance to the world we call home. But we can't wait. We must begin now to change our way of life. We are more than capable of rising to the challenge. After all, this is not the first time humanity has been called to achieve something that seemed impossible. Early in our existence, we learned to make fire. In 1752, we harnessed the power of electricity. We took our first step on the moon in 1969. If we could do all that, what can stop us from saving our planet? We got this! In this video, I will discuss 5 things you can do right now to be part of the climate solution. One option is walking or biking to our destinations whenever possible. Doing so not only decreases pollutants from motorized vehicles, but also reduces traffic, boosts fitness, and saves money. When traveling by foot is not possible, an environmentally mindful alternative to driving gas-powered cars is driving electric vehicles. A second idea is watching your diet. The meat industry produces a considerable chunk of greenhouse gas emissions through raising livestock. Therefore, eating less meat and more fruits and vegetables is better for the environment. It also helps to buy food locally or to grow a garden to lessen pollution from trucks transporting food to stores. Solution number 3 is reducing waste. This means consuming less disposable goods, recycling, and composting. In fact, 75% of our waste is recyclable and 28% can be composted, as stated by the EPA. Make sure to ask your local recycling companies what items they can and cannot accept. Fourthly, you can improve the biosphere by utilizing thrift stores. The EPA explains that 23% of greenhouse gas emissions spur from industry. Many of the items produced by these factories are thrown away when they could be reused. Finally, you can better your ecosystem by planting trees. Trees are a powerful tool to combat climate change because they take in twice the carbon dioxide that they emit. If you have implemented these 5 methods and would like to do more, consider installing solar panels or other sustainable energy sources into your home. The fact of the matter is that making choices to slow climate change is not only good for the earth, but good for you. Striving for sustainability helps you be healthy, save money, and waste less. So, what are you waiting for? Let's save our planet.
Think about your average school day. You wake up, go to school, go to class. Then there is a nice break for lunch. You eat some of your food, then throw the rest away. According to Idaho Education News, 30% of all Idaho school districts waste $6.6 million in a single school year. Offer Not Serve is a program that allows students to have a choice in what they decide to eat. This can prevent food waste in Idaho by saving other foods that are not being eaten. According to Recycle Track Systems, the greenhouse gas emissions of the production of wasted food in the United States is the equivalent of 37 million cars. Here are some things you can do to prevent food waste in your school. See if your school is willing to set up a leftovers bin. When you put food that you do not eat in a leftovers bin, then someone who is hungry can eat it instead. Another tip to reduce food waste is to take extra food to your local food pantry. They will distribute the food to those who need it.
Hi, my name is Tom Bella. I am the head custodian at Magic Valley High School in Twin Falls, Idaho. I believe the school system contributes quite a bit to the food waste. I believe that the way the school makes a shareholder is because the schools are mandated to give kids a certain amount of food, and it doesn't matter whether the kid will eat it or not. They have to receive the food, and then the kid will decline to eat it, and so we just end up throwing a lot of food away. So every day when the trash cans get full of food, I tie it up, pick it up, and then I take it outside to our dumpster. and every day it's 7 bags, about 50 pounds of trash in there. The dumpster is usually pretty full at the end of the day, full of wasted food.
The final tip that we have for you is to throw your food scraps into a compost. When you do this, you can help out the environment by letting the food decompose. These are not all the things you can do to stop food waste. We encourage you to find out on your own how you can personally help out the environment by wasting less food.
As threats such as global warming, deforestation, and pollution continue to harm our planet's welfare, it might seem like all hope is lost, that repairing the Earth is an insurmountable task, and there's simply nothing we can do that will make things any better. But everything in the world starts small. The planets we now know were first grains of dust floating in space. The biggest buildings began as bricks, and the tallest trees started as seeds. When the world's on fire, sometimes we just need to tend to our gardens. I mean that quite literally. By starting a home garden, you can step towards a better future for our planet. I would like to show you the many ways gardening helps our planet, and to do that, I'm going to bring in someone who's an expert in the field.
My name is Julie Bokenkamp, and I'm the garden director at the Kleiner Park Community Garden. I've been doing that since 2014. So I started gardening as a child. We were a family who gardened, a neighborhood that gardened. So I've been gardening for most of my life.
To avoid using pesticides, Julie uses alternatives, such as
We rotate crops, we use different mulches, we use companion planting. We do not use pesticides.
not only is this healthier for the environment, but it is healthier for the people who eat the produce as well.
We like our children to be able to grab something off the vine and put it straight to their mouth if they wanted to do that.
By starting a home garden, you can provide delicious produce, not only for your own family, but for many who are less fortunate, by donating the excess to local food banks.
We share the produce with our families, and then remaining produce goes to local food banks. We have shared anywhere between 6,000 pounds and 9,000 pounds each year. Food banks don't have access to fresh produce. They receive produce, oftentimes days, years old, from various grocery stores, but fresh produce is hard to come by.
If everyone had their own garden, over-farming would be a thing of the past. Water would no longer be wasted on huge rolling fields of corn. Hunger would be eradicated. Pesticides and GMOs would never have to be used, which would finally allow the ecosystem to repair itself after decades of being bombarded by poison. We would be so much closer to repairing the planet and growing a hope-filled future. All we need to do is plant the seeds.